All right, welcome back. In this video, we are going to go over a little bit of review from basically the whole book. All right. So we in the last video tested a religion and political parties question. Is your religion related to political parties? All right. We asked this question using a chi-squared design, which means that we had two categorical variables. So we did religious versus atheist, and we did Democrat versus Republican. But we could use a number of different designs to ask the same basic question. That question is your religion related to your political party? All right. Are religion and political parties related to each other? So, what if I change my measure of political orientation to a scale? All right. So I might give somebody a scale like this. What is your political orientation? 1, very conservative, to 10, very liberal. Well, now we've changed the type of variable that we're using. It's no longer a categorical variable. All right. But I'm still testing the relationship between religion and political orientation. I'm just doing it a little bit differently. All right. Now, political orientation is a continuous variable. It's not perfectly continuous, but it's pretty close. We usually consider these scale type variables, we consider them continuous, even though technically they don't quite count. So in this case, we've got a continuous variable and a categorical variable, religion. Okay, so what kind of test should I run in this case? What kind of test should I run? I've got religion, religious versus atheists, and political orientation. So I want to know, do religious people have a higher or lower score? Are they more conservative or more liberal than atheists? Okay, so it's the same basic question, but I'm going to need another test because I can't use a chi-squared test. What kind of test am I going to use? All right, so I've got, in fact, I think a good way to do this is to draw a graph. Well, we have political orientation and religious people, or religious versus atheists. So what if I put religious here, atheists here, and I get a graph like that? This is political orientation. Well, now we can see that we're comparing two groups of people, religious people versus atheist people, and we want to see who scores differently. This is going to be an independent samples t-test, all right? Not just any old t-test, but specifically an independent samples t-test because, well, it can't be a paired samples t-test because people are either religious or atheists, not both. I suppose if you wanted to make it a paired samples t-test, you could find a way to match people on some important variable and then make sure one person from religious group is matched with one person from an atheist group, and then you could make it a paired samples t-test, but independent samples t-test would be easier. All right, I could also ask about multiple religions. Which religion do you belong to? Christianity, Catholicism, Islam, Judaism, or other? What is your political orientation? Very conservative to very liberal. Okay, what kind of test should I run now? It's pretty similar to what we just talked about, but it's a little bit different, all right? We've still got a continuous variable. We've still got a categorical variable, but now we've got additional groups, okay? So what kind of test do you think we're gonna run here? That's right. We're gonna run an independent measures ANOVA because we've still got one variable predicting another variable. So that's kind of like our IV up top and our DV on the bottom, but we've got more than two levels. So we're gonna have to use a one-way ANOVA instead of using a t-test. What if I ask people to indicate their religion and political orientation both using scales? So, how religious are you? 1, not at all, to 10, extremely religious. And what is your political orientation? 1, very conservative, to 10, very liberal. Now, I'm testing the relationship between two continuous variables. So the graph would look something like this. So I'll put 0 religion versus 10 religion. And conservative down here, and liberal up here. All right. Now we can find individuals anywhere on this spot. So one person might be very religious and very conservative. Another person might be very religious and not that conservative, pretty liberal. Maybe somebody else is not very religious and they're pretty conservative. And another person is very liberal and also not religious at all. All right. And so we can get people in a bunch of different spots like this and run a correlation. Okay. So the reason we went through these examples here is because I want you to see that really, as a researcher, you've got a ton of flexibility with how you run any given study. All right. Just because you have one specific question doesn't mean there's only one way to ask and answer that question. All right. You can do it in a number of different ways. And one of the things you can expect to happen on the final is I'm going to give you a research design and you're going to have to figure out what test should I run. Okay. So hopefully this was helpful in working toward that goal because that's all for this video. We've got no vocabulary words, and that's actually it for our entire semester. I know this wasn't the easiest semester. We definitely hit some bumps in the road, but I'm glad you guys stuck through it, and I'm really proud of you for making it here. All right. So let me know if you need anything in any semester at any time. I'm always happy to try my best to help. I don't know everything, but I do know lots of people. So even if I don't know the answer to your question, I might know somebody who does. All right? That's all, and have a great break.